Hello, and welcome to Visibility Corner with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley, where I bring business owners, experts, speakers, you name it, to this particular platform to talk about, first of all, who they are, lighthouses of the world, as I always call them, and then from that point, give just a little take on what they do far as visibility in their own lane and something that maybe they learned from or something that they can give you some advice to. Because it's all about visibility. If people don't know who you are, what you're doing, then it's kind of doesn't work. It doesn't work, especially if you have everybody has a gift in them, as I always say, to bring to the world. And if they don't know that gift, first of all, they don't know who you are. And second, you're not helping the individual that you should be helping because you're so busy hiding or don't really understand where to go when it comes to visibility. So, with that said, as I always said, I bring the wonderful guests on. We have another wonderful, and when I bring the women on, I call them queens because I look at them as royalty. I really do. I look at them as royalty. So, Yaminah Mitchell, awesome lady. She's helping, and I love she's helping the millennials because I feel like everybody has their niche, and she's helping them as professionals to live life on purpose. Now, she's using one of my favorite words that I always talk about and stop doing the SHIT out of obligations. I love that because a lot of times we don't put boundaries. We don't do our own self-care. And you can't rely on other people to think about doing your self-care. You got to do it yourself. So she's going to get a little bit into that detail, and I can't wait for this conversation with her. But before we bring on the queen, we got to make sure we do the queen right. So after this one little tab, we will be right back.
That recap was so fun.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
I was like, oh yeah, I remember where I was at when I took that picture. Yes.
Usually that happens when I do the recast. They be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about. Oh yeah, I was over there." I'm like, "Good. Oh, the good memories."
All good things. All
Good
good
memories.
things.
Well, Queen Lady, as I said, I call the Lady Queens. First of all, before we even get into our conversation, welcome to the Visibility Corner. I put out the ask, and you came and said, Barbara, out of my busy schedule, everything I'm doing, you were able to get on the calendar and come to this particular show and just really share your knowledge, your expertise, and what you're doing in the world for others, especially with the millenniums. So I always, before I start, I like to I always say, let's pull the curtain. Let's pull the curtain just a little bit.
Mhm.
Because I know you weren't always doing this, and maybe you was. Some people just come out just being what they do, and they just do it through their whole lives. But other ones, somewhere in life happens, and you get, into that point of what you're doing now. So can you just give us a little take of that first?
Absolutely. So, life coaching officially began for me February of 2022.
Mm.
After making it through the pandemic and lots of reflection, everybody's going through the things. What am I going to do? What's my purpose? Do I like my job anymore? Am I going to keep going through these motions? And the conversations that I had with myself and the reflection that I had about the engagement that I've had with people all of my life is that I've been a coach naturally my whole life.
Mm.
I have inspired people through me demonstrating an ability to say, who cares if it's scary or weird or off the beaten path? I'm going to go after a thing. I'm going to try it out. And then people get to watch this unfold. And it's like, oh, you know what? She's doing this. I could probably do this too.
Yeah.
So I feel like it just kind of naturally came to the surface. And I've just been leaning into it ever since.
Wow. So basically, I know because you really work with people. Just first of all, their purpose, understanding how important that is before you do anything in life as a life coach, and then really making sure that you're creating those boundaries. So I want to talk about both of those. So let's first kind of dig in a little bit about really understanding your purpose in life, and a lot of people have different ways of talking about it. So I want to get your take on that.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like purpose has been like this big, far off, unreachable thing for a very long time.
Mhm.
Because I thought that there was something outside of me that I was supposed to be reaching towards or
Mhm.
aiming for, or to please or satisfy outside of myself. But
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
self care got its hold on me, and me taking care of myself and setting up all the boundaries in all the ways possible with people outside of myself and within myself. It uncovered that I needed to make sure that I take care of me before I can try to give to anybody else out in this world.
Mhm.
And in doing that and walking in that purpose, it was like, okay, now that I am just being me and living with joy and happiness from things that come within, and like steps that I'm taking to improve myself and grow as a person, the purpose just kind of came about. It wasn't the focus of the beginning of the journey. It was just to get away from feeling like trash.
Mhm. Sometimes that's it.
Yeah.
That's all she wrote, like on that
And
one.
that was enough. And after that, it's like, okay, well, now we're coaching. And boundaries was a huge part of that. Like
Mhm.
before I even got into this work, the hardest boundaries that I've ever had to set or thought that I would never set in life were boundaries with my mother.
Mhm.
And so grew up with a single mom,
Mhm.
oldest in the household. And so I was an adult before my time.
Mhm.
Helped raise my little sister. That's essentially my baby.
Mhm.
But that causes a lot of codependency and dysfunction and expectations to live up to that are not for children to live up to.
Yeah, definitely.
And so to have to learn to undo that is what really put me on this path of helping people to get where I want to help them get to now.
Mhm.
Because for so long, I've done what people told me to do. I went to college, I got the job, I'm in a career, and you're supposed to stick with it until you retire. And you go through all the motions that everybody has told you is going to give you that life that you desire, that we all are aspiring towards because we've done all the things we're supposed to do. And it's, can I
Mhm.
cuss on here?
Just a little bit.
Okay. I'm gonna say only the word. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
We'll
It
pick
is.
one word. So we'll pick one
Yeah.
word.
It's a farce. The hustle culture of it all, like all
Mhm.
the things that we are like jumping over hurdle after hurdle,
Mhm.
it's not actually making us happy. And the
Mhm.
happiness is coming from within. And until we slow down enough to see that, we're gonna stay stuck in the rat race.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Yeah.
helping people to sit down for a minute and realize that it's from within, every bit of it.
Yeah. And I love how you said, Queen, that, the journey that we all take. I mean, what you said, go get, education, go to college, go get a good job, get a job that has a pension, whatever. They don't have pensions nowadays anyway, but hopefully they got a 401k somewhere. You don't even know that much. And then go through that and then retire and you're done. There's life. And no, because that's putting everybody in that same box. I said earlier, we all have our own gifts and talents of what God has given us. So why are we start trying to be? We're trying to be the same person. Yeah. So that's what I love. What you do is, like you said, okay, let's sit down and really think about this and say, you probably half the stuff you're probably doing. You're either somebody told you to do it, or you knew you had to do it to survive, or whatever the case may be. And
Yes,
now here where I am. Here's where I am right now. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I always so talking about purpose, because I know you found yours. And what I like what you did is you took the platform you're doing now, and you're like, you know what, I don't want nobody else to be dealing with what I dealt with, so
Yeah.
let me coach on this. Let me be this life coach to people, to bring them in so they can understand that they need to live their real life,
Yeah.
not just that cookie cutter life that people might call it. Now I was going to ask you, with that, when you have people coming to you,
Hmm.
and I know everybody's, you're a strong woman, and I could tell just through how you talk. There's not that, some women don't come like that.
Hmm.
Some come like, I don't know, or they
Hmm.
told me I need to do this. The confidence level is kind of down, everything. So how do you really help them, bring them out of that to
Hmm.
their purpose?
And so it's interesting because I feel like everybody that I've worked with, confidence, even if that's not what they state out loud is what's being worked on, that's
Mhm.
absolutely what's being worked on. And for me, like, I've always had a level of confidence about myself, especially like with my day job, because I do still work a full-time day job right now as an accountant. But with my day job, I take pride in, you know, the work that I've done, the education that I've gotten, and things like that. But I mean, that's not all that I am. And so, you know, it's confidence is something that you gain through practice. It is not something that you just have inherently because life has been handed to you or easy or you've not had something to overcome. Obstacles are always in our path. And reminding my clients that things in life are neutral and how we are choosing to react to those things is how our experiences are dictated, how we choose to see the movie in front of our eyes unfold. And so boundaries is a big part of confidence, because when you can stand up to somebody and advocate for yourself in many areas of life, be it saying no to lending money that you don't, that you know that you're not going to get back, or saying yes to something that you don't really want to go to and the energetic drain that it is going to cost you. Having those real conversations with yourself and saying, okay, well, if I just take a step back, pause, and check on me and what is it that I need, doing that over and over, showing up for yourself over and over, loving on you the way that you want the rest of the world to show up for you is how the confidence just starts to bloom from within. You can't even control it. It just happens naturally, in my opinion, honestly.
Yes. You brought up some good gold nuggets. We got a table somewhere. I got to go back to that. First, I love how you said it always starts with loving on you, because if you don't love on yourself, you're showing others how they should treat you. So they're going to treat you a certain way if they see, because people can tell when a person's confident, they love on themselves, they set boundaries, like you said, in their lives. And it's not because to say, I don't want to do nothing for you. It's because I have to make sure that I can do things for people, because I have to set my own self-care and intact. So I love how you said you got to love on you first. And if that doesn't happen, then the boundaries can fall, because now you're doing things for other people. Been there, done that.
About to write a book about it.
A few years ago, I could have been under your coaching. And it's some reminders right now that you're giving me. But yeah, you tend to say yes, 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 and people need to understand that no is a full sentence
with the period at the end. No explanation needed.
Love that. Love it. Love it. Yes, a period. Boom, right there. So, you know, like you said, if you know, and I always tell people this too, if you're going to sit there and obligate yourself to something like a project, whatever, if somebody asks you whatever to do, think about the whole picture and the consequences of it, because first of all, integrity is online. I always tell people, if you have integrity, you want to make sure if you say yes, you put your yes out there, people are going to sit there and listen to that yes and say, okay, you said yes, Barbara. Now you're telling me this and that and everything else. Now I know life happens and all that kind of stuff. We get that. Life does happen, earthquake, floods, and I always tell people that. But if you know that you have 500 million projects under your own thing, and then now you're saying yes to another, 600 project, knowing that you're not going to have the time, the energy, or the take to do it, then a no is okay to say. It's best to say no and let them find somebody else and get it done than to say yes. And now you're sitting here, you know, they're scrambling with you. You're sitting there like, oh, I said yes to this person. Now I got to figure it out. And now you stressed out mentally, physically. I mean, you know how the whole thing just goes down.
It spirals.
There's a spiral effect. And then in the back of your mind, you're like, how did I get here? Or why did I even say yes to this?
Yes.
Yeah. And one thing you said, I understand when you said about saying yes and no to other people, but sometimes you have to say no to yourself.
Yes, indeedy.
And
yes, indeedy.
I want you to dip a little bit into that, because sometimes that needs to be said.
Listen, saying no to you can be some of the hardest boundary work that you do. Because, you know, in the society that we live in today, I can't speak to back in the day because I wasn't alive back then, but we are all about some instant gratification right now. And sometimes it's good, but a lot of the times it is to our detriment to say yes in that moment to a thing when we know we should be saying no. For instance, I know for me, I have been currently dealing with food allergies. So
Oh.
I've recently learned that I'm allergic to corn
Oh.
in most forms. And so saying no to food that I am used to and that I know what it tastes like and wanting to enjoy that the way that I enjoy food, it
It's hard. I
it
know.
is hard. I have finally stopped crying about it because, baby, this has been months. It has been hard.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I remind myself that if I don't say no to corn, I'm not going to be able to wear lipstick because my
Mm.
mouth breaks out. It's a whole thing. It's not fun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So my incentive is like, am I going to be able to put color on my lips? Do I like that's the incentive I have to remind myself that is there at the other end of things. But it can be even bigger than that. Like I know before this was a thing, obesity is something that I've struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that most things that are either directly sugar or are floury, white powderiness, all that turns into sugar in the body.
I
And
know.
so if I want my body to look differently, I've got to fuel it with different things. And that is boundaries with self. And it's
Mm.
not always easy and it's not always the fun choice, but then it's like, okay, how do I feel when I give my body the foods that I know that it likes versus the stuff that's easy and convenient?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of conversation with self these days. I do that anyway, but girl, I've been talking to me a whole lot about food lately.
Yeah, because we're always gonna be ourselves. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I can't just get rid of me real quick and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm here to stay."
Mhm.
So I got to keep talking. And you know what? You're right, Queen. I just like you. You said, with the corn. I mean, this is like you said. This is self talk yourself, self care for yourself. I'm allergic to chocolate. I've been allergic to chocolate since I've been a baby. People think I don't like chocolate. I'm like, no, I love chocolate. It's
Chocolate
just
don't like me back.
it don't like me. Oh, you talking about your lips, my whole neck, everything. Whoosh.
Mm-mm. And
I
it
look
ain't
like
worth it.
I turned into this big old poop, and people like, "What's up with you? You something wrong. You definitely need to go to the doctor." So, yeah, I mean, Benadryl for days. But
Mhm.
yeah, but some, and just it's weird. Just 3 years ago,
Mhm.
just 3 years should have been much longer. I just kind of stopped doing that self sabotage of myself, and that's what we do a
Mhm.
lot sometimes too. That's a whole nother road.
Yeah.
But I would do like maybe once out the year, eat chocolate. I would just pick a month because I
Mhm.
said I just want to have. I just had that craving for the chocolate, and I would have the Benadryl right next to me. Crazy, nuts. You know that's nuts. I'm eating chocolate and taking Benadryl at the same time. You know that I'm about to break out. Now, what kind of mess is that? Learn from my mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's real though,
that's
because you want to feel a little bit normal again.
my doctor even said, he said, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "I'm just
Listen.
glad you're not putting me to the next level." He said, "No, well, we gotta talk." But yeah, it was crazy. So
Yeah.
after 3, I said, "Why am I doing?" Then you ask yourself, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and say, "Why?" Just
Yeah.
ask the why. That's what I ask myself. So
Swear
yeah.
to God, I had that moment with myself like in the last 2 to 3 weeks because I drank, I don't want to say a lot of whiskey, but whiskey was my go-to alcohol.
Uh-huh.
I love snacks sometimes, not a whole lot, but when I do snack, I enjoy Cheetos, Oreos. I can't have none of that stuff without having a reaction.
Uh,
I can't have the goal. So I've told friends that I have allergies, and now
mm,
they're like, okay, well, friend, what's safe? At this
mm,
point, naked meats, fruits, vegetables, legumes, and nuts. That is it. Like, but
that's
honestly, is it that bad? Because I shouldn't be eating all the trash that we eat anyway. Like, America has been tearing our bodies down with the food that we put in it.
yeah,
So, it's a blessing and a curse.
yeah.
It
We
came
just
so abruptly, I was not ready. And I
yeah.
am learning to boundary myself so that I do not suffer because I don't like feeling not good.
No, no. And then, like you said, when you really sit back and ask those questions, like you just said, it's
Mhm.
like, okay, is it really, like I asked myself this question, is it really serious, Barbara? Did you go through all that just because of some chocolate? Really?
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, because I'm feeling bad. I'm broke out. I got to go. And it takes like 4 weeks to get over it. I mean, this was like a whole month,
Yeah.
so it's like, no, no. So you got to set those boundaries. Again, self-care. And then I had even asked myself, do you love yourself? I mean, I looked straight in the mirror, Queen. Do you
I
really
look
love
me in the eyes and be like, girl, what are we doing to us?
And people sometimes look at you like, are you talking to yourself?
Yes.
At least I'm not answering. We're good. That's all I have to say. I'm talking, but I'm not answering back. That's where you go to the nut house. But there's a whole other story too. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go way off the path, but these are good examples of, like you said, not only people might be able to control, why you say the yes to them, but you got to say the no to yourself when you do things, because you don't want to self-destruct. You don't want to self-destruct. And I'm just so glad, and that's going to go back to this, Queen, that you're helping the millennials out with this. I mean, I'm kind of in I don't even know where level I'm at. I think I'm between I'm kind of, I don't know, but I'm somewhere. I'm just to say I'm older. I'm older. But I like how, that the different levels of the age group we're learning. Everybody needs to learn. I don't care what age you are, about self-care and boundaries.
Yes.
And I don't care if anybody else says that you don't need it. Yes, you do. And it's up to you to set those boundaries, because like I said earlier, no one else is going to do it for you, because they're going to try to do everything to say, hey, Queen, can you help us with this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And you'd be like, no, can't do that right now. And sometimes some people say, well, I hate to let them down. I really hate to say no to them. You hear that too?
I do.
I know they need the help. I know they need me on this, or they need some help. And the list goes on. And so you're trying to convince yourself that you don't want to say no.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother process that you're doing.
Yeah. And my no has been strong for like 5 years. It's good no. Like, I'm going to say, hold on, let me check my calendar. Look at what I have going on before and after, maybe even a couple of days or a week, depending on what the ask is.
Yeah.
Before I say yes. And I might say, I can't commit.
Yeah. And that's, And then see, some people look at it as, oh, wow, Barbara said that she couldn't. Really? She knows she couldn't. But it's better for me to say no, as I said earlier, and cause a whole other effects after that than to say yes, and then you're not getting undone. And now you're really looking at Barbara and want to cuss her out because things are not getting done, because now I overspent myself. So it's to me, it's a strategic, if we want to use the word strategic here, because it is a strategic way to say, let's get stuff done without overloading yourself with that person and yourself. Yes. So, wow, this has been an awesome conversation, Queen. So what I want to do is I want to take myself down, give you like 30 seconds just to give any lasting thoughts to the audience, and I'll be right back.
Okay. I am so glad to have been part of Barbara's show today. My name is Coach Yamz, and I'm helping women to live on purpose and unapologetically and not doing shit out of obligation. If you want to know more about that, you can go to coachyams.com. If you want to book a call with me to see if maybe coaching would be a good fit, chatwithyams.com. I also have a virtual dance party every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can go to dancewithyams.com for that information. Pretty much anywhere where you want to find out what I've got going on, because I have a podcast too. Coach Yamz, you can Google it. You'll find me. I'm everywhere. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Coach Yamz. I like that. But every time I was listening to it, I was thinking about like the potatoes, the sweet potatoes. I said, she made me want me a sweet potato pie now.
Sweet potatoes are delicious. Who doesn't like yams?
Oh, see, you branded well, Queen. You branded well.
It's funny because it's my nickname. So my name is Yaminah, but people in college were like, shorten that thing, and they started calling me Yams. And then it became a song and all the other things. And I do have some yams on the back of me. That's my business.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Yeah, yams. Okay, Yaminah. That's pretty though. They need to let that go to the side, because that's.
Oh no, my website is also YaminahMitchell.com. I done bought a whole bunch of domain names, honey. This Yaminah is what you're gonna get, because that's who I am. Proud of that name. But yeah, yams is fun.
set them boundaries. Set them boundaries. So thank you, lady, again for coming on. Like I said, once you come on the show, your family, you can come on anytime, come back. We got to have another discussion on anything you're doing because it's about the visibility corner, as I say. So with that said, see you at the next Visibility Corner show. And again, Queen, thank you so much for being on the show today. Take care.
You.